My upcoming fall class on medieval romance is one of the most fun classes that I get to teach. After all, who doesn't love knights fighting on horseback in tournaments to impress their ladies, castles, feasts, and magicians? Medieval audiences loved reading and listening to a good romance the way that we love, say, watching Game of Thrones. And in fact, Game of Thrones really is a kind of medieval romance for the 21st century, though I should offer a disclaimer, which is that there actually aren't that many dragons in actual medieval romance. Romance is the technical word that we use for a genre of literary fiction that was developed in Western Europe in the 12th century to entertain and also educate the nobility. And in an important way that we'll talk about in my class, romance provides some of the origin for the modern novel. What I mean first and foremost by medieval romance are stories about King Arthur. And in fact, the first Arthurian romance appears in a Latin history book written by a man called Geoffrey of Monmouth, who wrote a chronicle about the history of the kings of Britain. Geoffrey found a gap in that British history, and into that gap he inserted the basic outlines of the story of Merlin and Arthur and his knights. And after looking in this class at Geoffrey's fake history of Arthur, we move on to works that were written originally in French by a poet named Chrétien de Troyes, who first took this story of Arthur and turned it into a series of different stories about Arthur's knights, among which is the story of Lancelot and Guinevere and their illicit love affair. And Chrétien also wrote another story that we'll read about a knight named Yvain, who develops a very close friendship with a lion who helps him out of difficult situations. And then later in the term, we'll read one of the stories of the quest for the sacred object that is the Holy Grail. We'll read the tale of the doomed love affair of Tristan and Isolde and their magic potion. And then we'll cross the English Channel and read some 13th and 14th century English romances, including the great Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, and some of Chaucer's semi-Arthurian stories from the Canterbury Tales. We'll end in the 15th century with Thomas Malory's Morte Arthur, which became the first printed book of Arthur stories. And then, of course, we will probably talk a lot about Game of Thrones because I simply can't help myself.